So in this video I will show you how to recognize and conjugate verbs of the first group. First of all, how to recognize these verbs. Let's take a look at some verbs of the Greek language. Echo, which means to have. Agapao is to love. Odigo is to drive. And meno is to live or to stay. Now, the way groups are separated in the Greek language is based on the stress. So notice that this verb takes the stress on the second syllable. Why do I say second syllable? It might look like the first one, right? If you count from left to right, this looks like the first one. But normally, in anything related with language, at least with the Greek language, we count syllables from the end, from the right to the left. So the first syllable is actually this here. No is the first syllable. So let me make it clear. This is the first syllable, and here, what you have here is the second syllable. Yeah. Same thing with echo. So sorry, ho is the second syllable. Sorry, the first syllable, and e is the second. Yeah. So although it seems natural to start from here and then go here, we actually count from the end of the word. Now, odigo is different. You can immediately see that odigo takes the stress on the last syllable, so on the first syllable, actually the way we count. And agapao is a tricky one. Let's say for the purposes for now, let's say just that this ao counts as one syllable for our purposes. So the second syllable would be aga, yeah? I will tell you later, I will explain later a better rule, but for now, suffice it to say that if you have a verb stress on the second syllable from the end, then in the first person, all these verbs are in the first person, then it is it belongs to the first group. Now let's see how we will conjugate a verb of the first group. Let's stay with the verb echo. Echo means to have. And in Greek, echo is a regular verb. It's not irregular. In many other European languages, the verb to have is irregular. In Greek, it's regular. So, echo, I have. Έχεις, you have. Έχει, he, she, it has. Έχουμε, we have. Έχετε. And finally, έχουν. And you can also say έχουνε. Έχουνε is also accepted. Now, I want you first of all to notice that the pronoun is not necessary. So I said έχω is I have, but in Greek this I part is not normally included. The reason being, you can recognize the person from the ending. You see the verb has different endings, like omega is an ending here, is an ending here, e, etc. So you can recognize the person from the ending. You don't need the pronoun, and also the pronoun is used for specific purposes, either for emphasis or for qualification. Okay, now a second thing I want you to notice is that there is a part of the verb that stays the same. So if you see here, this ech part stays the same, and actually the stress also stays on the same place. You notice, right? So if what you have here on the right is the endings, And these endings are valid for any verb of the first group, which is very nice. You can immediately conjugate any verb of the first group. We will do this in a minute. What I also want you to notice is that with a verb like έχω, the stress is on the part that does not change. This part that does not change, we normally call it stem. Okay, but it doesn't really matter. This is just a fancy name for the part of the verb that stays the same throughout the conjugation. So another way to think about the distinction between verbs of the first and the second group is that verbs of the first group take the stress on the stem. So let's look again at some of them to verify this. Μένω, you see the stress is on the stem, right? And then let's take another one. Τρέχω, to run, also the stress is on the stem. Yeah, here. However, αγαπάω, which can be confusing because it looks like these two syllables, you see immediately, if I conjugate the verb, actually, you will see immediately that αγαπάω, αγαπάς, let me show you. Actually, let me not just say it, but show you. Αγαπάω, αγαπάς. So the non-changing part is this αγάπ here. And this part actually is not stressed. The stress is on the ending. Now, another thing, before I conjugate some more verbs to show you how it works, another thing is that the stem, the non-changing part, the part of the verb that stays the same throughout the conjugation, the stem normally, almost always, okay, there are very few exceptions, almost always ends with a consonant. You see here that it ends with a he, and the ending, okay, the part of the verb that changes and indicates the person, okay, this part here tells you second person singular, this tells you third person singular, etc. So this part normally, almost always starts with a vowel. Yeah, and that's it in terms of theory. Now let's look at some more verbs. I said before the verb μένω, to live. So μένω στην Αθήνα means I live in Athens. Yeah. Okay. Μένω. First of all, wait. I should first separate the stem. Okay. This is the stem here. You see it is stressed. This is the ending. You see it's a vowel. The stem ends with a consonant. Okay. All these things are important to observe. Μένεις. Μένει. You see the stress stays on the same place. Μένουμε. Μένετε. Sorry. Μένουν. Okay. Okay. And now I will show you some more verbs I will conjugate. If you want, you can pause the video, write them down, and then see if you wrote them correctly. So first I will do τρέχω, to run, then βλέπω, to see or to watch, and let's say also ψήνω, to roast. Yeah, so if you want, you can pause the video now, write them down and come back. Okay, so τρέχω, τρέχεις, τρέχει, τρέχουμε, τρέχετε, τρέχουν. That's it. Okay, now for βλέπω I'll go below because I don't have enough space on the right. So βλέπω, βλέπεις, βλέπει, βλέπουμε, βλέπετε, βλέπουν, and again it's βλέπουν or βλέπουνε, yeah? I forgot to do it for the previous verb, but it's τρέχουν or τρέχουνε. Τρέχουνε is a perfectly valid form, okay? You can use either one. And then ψήνω, give me a second, ψήνω, ψήνεις, ψήνει, ψήνουμε, ψήνετε, ψήνουν. Okay, and that's it. That's all in terms of theory to recognize and conjugate in the present verbs of the first group. Okay, now what you need to do is have a lot of practice with them.